All right, what's up, everyone? This is Boxingwave, and we're gonna do a quick wave report video. London edition, UK edition. As you can see, I'm in the hotel. Um, yeah, so I just want to do a quick video. I want to brush over a few topics that's came up since I left home, right? But I'm gonna try to keep it real short because I don't know how good the upload speed is with this. I even watered down the quality of the camera in order for the upload won't take as long because I didn't want the file to be too large. All right, but as you can see, I'm in a hotel. I like this area. I'm in the area of the Tower Bridge. Like I'm just like a 5 minute walk from the Tower Bridge. So I like this area compared to before. You know, I seem to be really close to more things. But it's not, it really doesn't make a difference. If you haven't been here, you know, me being from New York City, it's very similar to New York City. You know, as far as like public transportation, it's very. I've gone on a bus before. I've used the train, the tube, what they call it out here, the tube. And if you have internet, you know, use Google Maps. It's very easy to see exactly where to go. It's very easy to navigate and get around here. Um, all right, but I am very tired because this was probably the first time I've traveled internationally overnight, and I feel the jet lag now. You know what I'm saying? When I landed here, it didn't feel like it was the morning. It felt like it was the evening. You know, so I didn't sleep well on the plane, so I've been out of it today. But yeah, tonight I'm just gonna be a chill night. I am gonna go out and make reservations at a restaurant. I'm gonna go out to eat and keep it real cool tonight. I'm not turning up tonight because I have to go to Paris very early in the morning. I'm gonna take the train out to Paris very first thing in the morning and spend the entire day out there. Just check out the museum, check out the tower, and just get some good food, and then make my way back tomorrow evening. And I think that's when all the fun really begins. All right, the fight is this Saturday. I will be at the fight. I just want to say too. I want to say one thing because somebody left me an email. I thought it was a little funny, but I don't have any connections with Anthony Yarde or his team or BT Sports or anything like that. I came here just to support Yarde and to support boxing. You know, I went to Beterbiev's last fight against Joe Smith Jr. You know, I mean that was a local fight for me. But if you are new to the channel, you know you won't know this, but I do travel for fights. All right, I've never had any problems traveling for a fight. In fact, the last time I was here, I came to see, I wanted to see Anthony Joshua. He ended up coming to New York to fight Andy Ruiz, but originally he was supposed to fight at Wembley, and that's why I booked the trip. But I'm going to make a vacation out of it as well, and I'm going to do things that I want to do while I'm here. So I don't have any direct connections to Anthony Yarde. I just like him a lot. Um, and I feel like he doesn't get the credit for fighting at this level without no experience. You know, very, very little amateur experience, very little professional experience. He hasn't really fought any proven world level fighters except Kovalev up to this point. You know, I know he lost to Lyndon Arthur, but I mean, real legit proven guys. Kovalev was the only one. Now Beterbiev. You know, he had that slight hiccup with Lyndon Arthur, but he avenged that loss. So for people that just think I'm just like randomly hyping up Yarde, that's not true. All right. And I am responding to one comment that I got. Um, no, I think he has a shot of winning the fight, you know, and I think the reason why I put money down is because, you know, this is boxing at the end of the day, and every once in a while, stuff happens. And I think Yarde, with his speed, his power, and his explosiveness, has a shot. All right. Logically, Beterbiev should win. He should dominate based on what we've seen from him throughout his whole career. But Yarde does have a shot, in my opinion, and I think that's part of the reason why the fight is so hyped up right now, because people do believe that Yarde can pull it off. All right, but Beterbiev is a heavy favorite, as he should be, based on what he's done against real high-end opponents. I mean, excuse me, he's been doing this against more proven fighters throughout his whole pro career. So he should win the fight. So I'm not arguing. I'm just telling you how I'm looking at it. And I think Yarde has a chance. If he loses, then he loses. You know, it is what it is. It's not a big deal. But I'm rooting for Yarde to pull it off tomorrow. All right. Um, yeah. So let's talk over a few topics real quick. I saw the presser yesterday. You know, or today, earlier today, yesterday. See, this is what I mean about traveling. I don't even know what day it is. It feels like the presser was yesterday, but the presser was like 4 or 5 hours ago. All right. So the presser was earlier, and I thought the presser was cool. Um, I like Beterbiev. He showed a lot of his personality today. You know, he's a very he has a good sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? Very humble guy, very nice guy. You can tell, you can always tell, except for when he's in the ring. You know, once he's in the ring, he gets busy. We already know Yarde. And a lot of people were saying, I was reading the comments as I was watching the live comments, and a lot of people were saying like Yarde looked nervous and all that. He might be a little nervous, but that's not outside of the norm. You know, some of the elite level fighters have said in interviews that they're always nervous before going into the fight. Some of the all-time greats have said it. You know, and I think fighters being nervous before a fight, especially a big one like this, of course he should be a little nervous, you know? But I don't look at like I don't feed too much into face-offs and weigh-ins unless a fighter looks drained or something like that. Like Haney looked drained and he looked terrible in his last weigh-in, but he beat George Kambosos better in a rematch than he did in the first fight, in my opinion. He performed better, in my opinion. So I don't really look too much into that. I care about the fight. Beterbiev is going to always be ready for a fight. You know, I think the one question is Father Time going to finally show up tomorrow, on Saturday? I mean, he is 38 years old now, and even though he hasn't looked like he's aged at all, um, you never know. You know, this fight this weekend could be the fight. We'll just wait and see. All right, but I'll be there at the fight. You know, you guys already know I will definitely be there, and that's what I came out here for. All right. I just want to brush on a few topics. Eubank Jr. against Liam Smith, the elbow. All right. You know, it's crazy because I didn't notice the elbow until the video started floating around. All right. I noticed the hook that landed. You know, I brought that up in my post-fight review. I brought up the uppercut. I didn't notice the hook. I mean, the other hook that the elbow did strike Eubank's temple. Yes, that is the elbow that caused the knot on his eye. All right. You can tell that that is the single shot that caused that knot. But there was a lot of other punches that landed. It was about another 5 punches that landed. With that being said, do I think it was an intentional elbow? I don't know. See, I don't do those. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I've seen things like I thought the Josh Warrington headbutts were 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 intentional. You know, I mean, the guy's just leading in with his head. He even gets the fight against Lopez in the last one. He was doing the same thing. He's leading in with his head. You know, I think you can make an argument that Liam Smith might have thrown an intentional elbow, but I just don't know. It's hard for me to tell, you know, but the way the angle that is being thrown, it looked like it's kind of upward instead of just straight like this. And it looks like you can make an argument that it was intentional regardless, because that's not what I'm here for. Regardless, I do believe the elbow did land and it did cause that knot on Eubank's eye. And that was one of the earlier punches in the sequence. And I think it had some effect. You know, I think it has some effect for Eubank to come in, and a guy that's always been durable, has never been dropped, has never been really badly hurt in a fight. I thought it was surprising that Liam Smith can come up and do it. A lot of people are blaming it on the weight. It could be the weight. It might have some effect on Eubank, but listen, that's something that can't be proven at this point. What I think most people could agree with, that there was an elbow that landed. It's just that there was a lot of other punches that landed too. All right, and the elbow didn't cause the actual knockout, but the elbow played a role of him getting hurt in that sequence. All right, so my stance is Eubank now is looking to try to overturn the fight. He's reached out to the BBBOC, the British Boxing Commission, and he's trying to look to overturn it. I mean, whether he should do it or not, I think at this point there should be a rematch. Whether they're going to overturn it or not, he's probably looking at the response and the reactions of all the boxing fans, and he's probably like, yo, I should just try to overturn it. If they don't overturn it, they don't, but he's probably going to go for it anyway. Maybe he gets lucky and gets a loss removed off his record. But they should have a rematch. I do believe that there should be a rematch at this point. I do believe so. There should be a rematch. It was a big upset, and I think they should do it. They should run it back. And the elbow thing is part of the reason why they should run it back. No, this is not like Glovegate. This is not like a lot of other things we see. It's not an excuse. It's a legit elbow that landed, which caused a swelling underneath his eye. A lot of swelling. So it played a factor. It's not the only factor, but it did play a factor. All right, in that stoppage. All right. But yeah, I mean, everything that I said as far as the actual win for Liam Smith, I still stand by it. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He did good. I think Chris Eubank made a mistake. He did get comfortable, just like Roy Jones said. He did get comfortable. He didn't respect his opponent. He didn't really look at Liam as being a real threat leading up to the fight. And you could tell in the fight at that moment. Very comfortable keeping himself in that corner. Though he could slip and roll all the punches, didn't work out for him, and he got laid out for it. He paid for it. All right, so that's my view on that. Next thing, Ryan Garcia against Tank Davis. Oscar De La Hoya is saying that it can do 2.5 million pay-per-view buys. Look, nobody's doing 2.5 million pay-per-view. Nobody's doing it at this point. I think the only way I can see somebody doing 2.5 million is maybe Joshua and Fury, maybe Joshua and Wilder, and that's pretty much it. Or if Canelo does like some sort of crossover with like a MMA fighter with a big name. I can't see them doing anybody doing like over 2 million. Ryan and Tank at the very most might barely hit 1 million, or maybe like I'm thinking with them maybe upwards of 700,000 maybe. But this is my thing, and I said this before about them being entertainers. I mean, they're professional. They're high level fighters. Tank is being one of my faves, but at the end of the day, they're not. I'm not giving them the credit that Lomachenko and Haney and them boys is doing. Teofimo Lopez, they're in their own lane. These two are all about Instagram followers. Tickets sold. All of that's them. Haney and Lomachenko are these other guys. I'm going to keep saying that. Now, what they're doing by saying 2.5 million or this is the biggest fight in boxing is they're currently selling the fight to you. I said this even last week when Oscar came out and said, or Oscar went on Twitter, took to Twitter and said, hey, I haven't seen a contract. When Ryan already said that he's seen the contract and he signed it. And then now he shows up with a piece of paper and a picture with Ryan like, hey, everything's signed. I'm not saying that they're lying, but if they were lying and they're just pushing the fight, that could be a possibility too. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? They know how to sell the fight. You got to get people to keep talking about this fight. So every few days or maybe once, at least once a week, Oscar's going to say something that's going to get people like myself and other content creators and the mainstream boxing media to talk about this fight. And if he says 2.5 million, now everybody's talking about, can they do it? So you're already selling the fight. This is a great marketing way. This is great marketing. Just keep talking about how this fight is bigger than Spence and Bud and all of these other fights. If you keep saying it, people are going to believe it. That's how everything works. If you keep saying it and you keep repeating it, whether it's true or not, people are going to say like, Well, Oscar said it, and these guys keep saying it. This is the biggest fight in boxing. I don't believe it's the biggest fight in boxing, but it will probably do well with the numbers by the time the fight happens because of the way that they push for this fight. These guys didn't run through the very best at 135 or 140 to get to this fight. These guys just been talking about each other for the last 2 years that at this point, people just want it at this point. But they didn't run through the best. I heard Tank say something like he's the real champ. No, you sell the most. You're the most popular, yes, but you ain't the real champ. You're not the real champ. You got to beat the real champ to be the real champ, and you didn't do that. It doesn't matter how people look at Haney. That's all. That's all opinions. Haney, at the end of the day, Haney is undisputed officially. Lomachenko is former 3-belt division unified champion. 3-division and former 135 unified champion. These guys did more. You know what I'm saying? And it's no WBA smaller belt. It's the legit belts. So I'm not going to take anything away from those two to sell these two's fight. I think that's not the right way to go about it. All right. Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is against Jermaine Franklin's official. I told you guys the other day, I really don't have a problem with guys that's coming off a loss or two to take a tune-up. It is what it is. Jermaine Franklin was supposed to be a tune-up for White, but it was a real tune-up. I said this before that fight, that this wasn't going to be an easy fight for Dillian White because White has had a tough road, a tough schedule lately, and he hasn't looked that great. From the moment he beat Oscar Rivas, things kind of went downhill for him. It went down let's be real. It went downhill for him. Not saying he's not elite anymore, but he hasn't looked elite in a minute. I've always had him in my top 5. I've had him for a long time, but in his most recent performances, he hasn't looked top 5 to me. And Jermaine Franklin, hungry. The only thing with him, only problem with him is that he was really inactive going into that Dillian White fight. I've seen him look better than that, and he still almost won the fight. So I don't have a problem with this fight. It's just that AJ just got to perform. He's I don't know if it's official, but we're thinking he's going to be with Derrick James. We know that he's out in the U.S. and he's going to be prepping for this fight. Just perform. I think this fight was a better selection than Dempsey McKean. I know he has, and McKean no one knew who he was. And then when we found out who he was, we found out that he was AJ's sparring partner. There's just no reason to take that fight at this point. No one's seen McKean in there outside of Jonathan Rice with anyone relevant. And, he's a tall southpaw who was going to be a tricky fighter. Not that even if AJ won the fight, it wasn't going to be a good-looking win. I think Jermaine Franklin is more stylistically the better matchup because Franklin is there to let his hands go. He's not going to be moving anywhere. And AJ can look for a knockout. He can look way better than Dillian White. All right. And get his confidence back up. Look like the monster that you look like at one point in time. And be aggressive. And I think Franklin is a good fighter for that. And you got to be careful because Franklin do have quick hands. He does have solid power. But lack of experience, Joshua should be able to outbox him and knock him out at some point. I have no problems with this fight. I already knew it was going to be a tune-up coming soon. I wasn't expecting Wilder right away. Wilder just had his tune-up against Robert Helenius. And I know Helenius was coming off 2 knockout wins. But Helenius also been knocked out by Gerald Washington. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't going to do that. That was a tune-up too. And I thought that it was a tune-up that made sense for Wilder. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep it fair for everybody that's coming off 2 losses. Especially big names. Wilder came out 2 knockout losses. Helenius was a good fight. Franklin, Joshua's coming off 2 losses. Why are we talking about him ducking Wilder right now when he needs a tune-up. He does. He needs it. All right. I mean, out of his last, 6 fights, he lost to Ruiz once, won the rematch, beat Pulev, and then lost to Usyk twice. So 3 out of his last 5 fights, he lost. You know what I'm saying? He needs a tune-up. He does. All right. He's still top level. He's still elite, but it is what it is. All right. So I have no issues with that fight. And the last topic before I get out of here, because I wanted to cut it low within 20 minutes. Adrian Broner is going to be fighting Michael Williams. I did get to check out Michael Williams' fight a little bit. He does have some fights up on YouTube. I did see his stoppage loss and everything. Young guy, looks very inexperienced. Definitely needs things to work on. But, if Broner's looking to have a tune-up, even a lower tune-up, this is the guy to face. I don't have no problems with it. I have problems with it being pay-per-view. And at this point, it's like, it's not, I'm not paying to watch pay-per-view. I can't support this. I'm sorry. I was cool. I was going to buy the Red Catch pay-per-view just to support Broner. And I was going to buy the Hank Lundy too. I was going to buy it, But, now it's just getting too long. I understand, Hank and his situation and Red Catch pulling out. I get it. But I'm not paying $40 for this fight, man. It's just, let's think about it. I just came out to the UK to watch 2 real fighters that's fighting at a high level fight each other. I think when I think of all the fights that I actually pay to go see, I just can't support this. I can't support this, man. Now if you want to pay for it, I understand the fight. I understand Broner, he's trying to get back into the mix. But before I pay money for Broner, I got to pay money for the fighters that's taking this sport 100% seriously. That's doing it for a living. Not doing it every other couple years when they need a money grab. I'm not supporting your money grab. I'm not buying it for that. And I felt this way about Hank and Red Cash, but this is just too low for me to pay for a pay-per-view. It just doesn't make sense. Now Broner wanted to take a tune-up in between his real fights and he's been active. That's cool. But I don't even know if Broner's going to be really sticking around because he might take this fight. And I know he has a 3-fight deal with BLK Prime and stuff. But if he fight Regis Prograis, I don't even think that's a pay-per-view. But I will support that because Regis Prograis is a real one. And I want to support a guy like that. I love Regis Prograis. But this fight, I can't support. All right, but I understand he needs a tune-up. I suggested a few fighters like Sergey Lipinets and Mario Barrios and stuff. And I understand that, I guess at least with the feedback I got, a lot of people feel that's too soon for Broner. And I get it. But you know what? Broner, his ability is be above those guys. It's just that he is just not fighting at his full potential, and I'm not the one that's using that as an excuse of where Broner is where he is. Again, fighters are fighters, and the way they choose to live their life, that's on them. All right, but I can't just buy this and sit and go live. I can't do that, I can't. I'm sorry. All right, but you never know. Maybe I have a change of heart. It is on a Saturday night. If I have nothing to do, maybe I'll jump on and go live. And if I ever go live and it's a pay-per-view fight, I actually purchase. I'm not going to sit here and make money on YouTube off your name without supporting you too. That's one thing about my channel. I can't speak for everybody else because I don't know what they do. But I will never stream a fight and go live at the same time where I'm making money off your name. I won't do that ever. So if I do go live and I do change my mind, I will purchase the pay-per-view. But if I just don't go on live, then it's probably because I just didn't pay. All right, and I don't really run a pay for this. All right, give us a better fight. Let's see if Broner really shows up for the next fight. Then I'll pay for it. I want to support him, but I want him to support us too and be serious. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm out of here, man. I'll be back with another video. Maybe not tonight, but probably the morning before the fight. Because tomorrow I'm going to be in Paris. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have time to put up content, but Saturday morning I'll probably throw something else up there. All right. So anyway, please subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.